Good morning, everyone. Virgo here. This may be the absolute saddest, most upsetting video that I have made in the last 6 years of me doing the Virgo Triad channel. And I'm going to apologize up front that my faithful and loyal subs that have always been wonderful and I love dearly are having to actually watch this. But this morning, I've been speaking with Van from the Van Balen channel, and we have both decided that it is unfortunately necessary for me to make everyone aware of what has been going on behind the scenes. So this video is extremely important, and I would like to ask that everyone try to watch it all the way through because there's a lot of information in here. It is extremely unfortunate that it has come to this, but since I know very shortly, due to information that has been forwarded to me, that chances are my personal information will be released, I am going to have to make this and let you guys know basically what has happened and provide some screenshots and some additional information on things that are being discussed that are wrong, lies, and some things that evidently people seem to be confused about that this will absolutely clear up. The chances are good that because the lack of integrity of the individuals that have decided to do this witch hunt, they have virtually none, and therefore they are willing to go to any lengths to damage me as much as possible. We thought this started out with a misunderstanding, but I have since found out that there really was no misunderstanding. The goal is clearly to try to get me taken off of YouTube. And I believe you guys will be able to see that from what I'm about to show you. I'm not willing to put myself or my family at risk. Therefore, I am preparing you and myself that the chances are good that Virgo Triad channel will probably cease to exist once they've decided that there's no place else for them to turn. I hope that's not the case, but I don't have a lot of faith at this point. So, without further ado, here we go. First, we start with the fire report. This fire occurred on the 17th of May. It was absolutely devastating, and I am going to partially read you the fire report, mainly for one reason, because I want you to pay attention to the name of the owner of the property. And the reason for that is because the owner wrote 2 letters. One was a termination of lease agreement, and the second was a reference, a tenant reference. I am absolutely just floored that there are people that actually believe that I was not telling the truth about this. It's disgusting to me. But this should nip that in the bud. And this is simply the preliminary report. In other words, this was drafted the night that the fire occurred. So you will notice that I redacted out several things for obvious reasons, although chances are it won't matter when this is all over with. Because although this was only provided to one person, out of courtesy, who was assisting with a fundraiser for me, this seems to have been spread around. You will notice the basic information here, and then we go down, and you'll notice what they did, extinguishment by fire service personnel, so on and so forth. And then you go down to the person or the entity involved, and it says tenant. which was me, and of course all of that has been redacted. And then you'll notice here where it says owner. I've blacked out the last name because I do not want this person being harassed by the trolls, but his first name is Ben. The remarks made by the fire chief. This is the preliminary report only. Dispatched on a structure fire while en route. Dispatch reports that RP states everyone out of the house in the backyard and cannot get out of the backyard due to no gates in the fence. Dispatch also reports PPD on scene, reports fully involved structure fire. UA found light diffuse smoke throughout block without a definite house on fire. House address located and identified. Light white smoke coming from door and eaves and stretched attack line to door. Forcible entry to front door accomplished with 8-1. 35 crew entered house. House was overly cluttered, which it was because I had a tremendous amount of inventory and 30 boxes that had just come in. With attack line for fast attack to bedroom on AD corner, which 35 EMO saw smoke coming from. Door was opened and 2 to 3 bursts of nozzle accomplished to dampen down fire heat, but no fire present and not a lot of heat. Room was completely full of fuel as it was cluttered more than the rest of the house. Without finding fire, 35 and 81 started reevaluating SNT with some discussion that fire may be in another bedroom. Noted that 31 took IC over the radio. Author started to radio for vent to clear out some smoke to look for the seat of the fire, and seconds after opening a door, a backdraft of the room occurred. Author pulled 35 EMO out of the doorway and opened up the nozzle to accomplish room and contents extinguishment. After fire was knocked down, the author realized that the knees were sinking into the floor. I'm not going to read the rest of this because that is enough for you all to know that the fire occurred, that it was overwhelming, that the floor was sinking in because of it. And I'm going to show you what the landlord sent with regards to this fire in a few moments, so you can see what the final investigation said the cause of the fire was. The following is a letter from the landlord that terminated the lease due to the damage to the premises from the fire. It confirms the fire and confirms the damage. Please pay attention to the name at the bottom of this. I have redacted his personal information and his business information due to the trolls. May 28th, 2021. Dear me, due to fire damage to your previous home at redacted, I will need to terminate our lease agreement under the damage to premises clause. At this time, the damage is of a severity that has made the property inhabitable, and it has been declared as such by the City Regional Building Department. This document will serve as your written notice that the lease has been terminated. Your damage deposit, along with prorated rent, will be returned to you within 60 days. Any paid or advanced rent will be prorated back to the date of the fire, 5/17/2021. Receipt of this notice will also serve as acknowledgement that you will have no interest in the property after June 30th, 2021. You will need to make arrangements to complete any insurance adjustment processes and relocate your possessions by that date. Thanks. Ben, redacted last name, CEO and founder, redacted business name, real estate, and Ben's signature. On June 23rd, 2021, I received this reference from the landlord in addition to my full deposit back and the prorated rent. To whom it may concern, blank, redacted, have been my tenants at redacted from December 2019 to May 2021. Their tenancy was only ended by a tragic house fire that occurred on May 17, 2021. This house fire left their home uninhabitable, which brought our lease to an end. This house fire was unrelated to their tenancy, and I would gladly rent to them again if I had a property available. They always paid their rent on time. In fact, they have been in the habit of paying a month ahead, approximately 6 weeks in advance since they moved in. During their tenancy, I never received a maintenance call related to the care of the property. They are not the type of tenants to put holes in walls. Redacted are animal lovers and have several dogs. However, they have always been diligent about making sure the dogs are well behaved and cared for. Although their previous home was severely damaged by the house fire, there was no evidence of damage of any sort from their tenancy or dogs. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me using the contact information below. Signed, Ben Redacted, CEO and founder, Redacted Business Real Estate. When several people who had viewed the fire report stated that they had viewed the fire report, it was then suggested that I was lying about the source of the fire. But on July 3rd, I had received a text message from Ben, whose last name is not new, by the way. It just happened to be a new number for him, that said what the investigation had found. Perfect. I am here now, locking up, and there is nothing really of note down there other than plumbing and a gas line. The fire investigation determined that a nearby lightning strike traveled up the gas line and made a small puncture in it, and also ignited the gas, which acted like a small torch under the house, which burned until it finally melted through the insulation and caught the floor on fire several hours later. That several hours later was when the smoke alarm went off, and shortly after that was when things started exploding from the gas line. It's been suggested that I lied about the ball lightning that hit the gas line. This, once again, is from July 3rd, where Ben the landlord informed me of what the final investigation was. Please keep in mind, I was extremely ill during this time. I spent 12 days in the ICU. As a result of that, there were many things I was unable to do. I was able to receive the fire report, the preliminary one, via email, but the final investigation wasn't something I was able to pick up because I wasn't able to walk even 10 steps until August. So this is what I have available. Regardless, I'm not sure why it matters how the house fire started, unless for some reason someone's claiming that I started it. But here is the proof that it was not arson in any way, shape, or form. And regardless of that, there was a fire. So I don't know why it is that they're cherry-picking things. Oh well, here it is. A day after the fire, I contacted Kimball's, who is a subscriber and a very close friend. Kimball's, in return, contacted Sean Z., who is also a very close friend. Both of them worked diligently to try to find a way to find the dogs and find a place for them to stay. Marvel Girl also assisted, and in the beginning there were no problems. Marvel Girl and I were friends and had been friends for probably close to 3 years prior to this happening. It was unfortunate that Kim informed me that although Marvel Girl had originally agreed that she was going to take the dogs in, she was unable to do that. At the last minute, she told Kim she couldn't take them. But I wasn't angry or upset with her. I understood she lives in an apartment. However, not long after the fundraiser occurred on Schrodinger's Cat channel, I started getting really strange emails from people, like, "Why is it that Marvel's trying to block your GoFundMe?" After that occurred, I asked Kim about it, and she informed me that indeed there were several problems going on with regards to Marvel Girl and the GoFundMe. Here is a screenshot that was taken that says, "Please take a break from spamming the GoFundMe. We raised a shit ton. Take a month off." It's unfortunate, but I didn't have a large savings that I was able to use, and I needed all the help that I could get. We literally lost everything. And it's extremely expensive to pay someone to watch your dogs. I was in ICU for 12 days. Even if it was only that length of time, it would have been a couple $1,000s to have the dogs watched. And it turned out to be over 3 months that they had to be watched. We had to find a new home. This was disheartening, but it actually even got worse. Many of my subscribers, like the Hornet, were actually attempting to try to place the GoFundMe in several different locations, like Discord and other chats, to make sure that it stayed relevant and they could continue to help. Marvel was there many, many times, putting up things like this. There's no need to keep reposting the GoFundMe. It is already posted everywhere. As you can see, the Hornet responded to her by saying, no, it is not everywhere. This was reoccurring. It didn't just happen here. I'm not going to put up 1,000 more screenshots. I don't want to waste everyone's time. The bottom line here was I couldn't figure out why it was that she would be doing this. And then I was informed by Kimbles and Sean, who spearheaded the actual GoFundMe, that she actually said the GoFundMe should be taken down a couple of weeks after the fundraiser. Well, I had people wanting to donate when they got paid that have nothing to do with YouTube. And by the way, just so everyone knows, I didn't ask for this GoFundMe. This was something that Kimbles and Sean Z set up with Marvel Girl's help. I was informed that Marvel got very upset because when she called the hospital, she asked if I would ask him to ask me, rather, if I would state that she was my sister so that she could come to the hospital and bring some things to me, which I would have appreciated, but unfortunately, one of the groups that were willing to help me was the Red Cross. I had just gotten through giving them all of the information. I have no family to speak of. And if I had lied and said she was my sister, this would have obviously been found out. I wasn't willing to risk anything by telling a lie, basically. She got very upset from that point forward, is my understanding, and that may be why the posts were going up and people were telling me that she was trying to discourage the GoFundMe. Now listen, it's being made out to sound as though I'm ungrateful. I'm extremely grateful, but I just don't understand why she would be trying to stop something that she started and helped to start. Someone came to me later on and told me, this was just last month as a matter of fact, that Marvel was just trying to look out for the subscribers. She was worried that the subscribers would feel that they were being taken advantage of. But here's the thing. A donation is just that. You either choose to do it or you choose not to. But if nobody knows about it, then obviously there isn't going to be the assistance that's needed. Nobody I've ever heard of has decided to take down a GoFundMe or discourage a GoFundMe because they were worried that somebody couldn't make up their own individual mind as to whether they could afford to donate or not. I found this to be very upsetting, and I couldn't understand why there was this betrayal going on. Now, Marvel claims that she tried to get in touch with me. I believe it was around June 9th. She says that she sent me an email or a text message. She actually did. I looked back and I found that text message. But here's the problem. I was in the ICU for 12 days. I didn't get out of the hospital until the 29th of May. This was at the very beginning of June. I was still on a breathing machine. I couldn't speak. I couldn't walk. This was not the time that I would have been able to discuss this. When I did get out, I tried to call her as soon as I got back and was able to start making videos to try to get this straightened out. Unfortunately, she didn't return my calls. Now she's saying that since I didn't respond to her in June, that it's just too bad, so sad. On September 10th, my birthday, I did a live stream, a very long one as a matter of fact. I was overwhelmed with the amount of help that the community had provided to me, and I wanted to make sure that I thanked everyone. Keeping It Criminal was within that stream, and when I made mention that I really wanted to change things up for my channel, because my channel generates different content than what the watchdogs are generating, I came back to a totally different group than what I left. What I found when I started trying to get back onto YouTube is that there were a lot of people that were not there before. Now, that wouldn't have ordinarily been a problem, except for there were a lot of my subscribers that were writing me emails saying that the Watchdog group had changed and that there were ex-frauditors and there were liars and there were scammers that were actually in the Watchdog group or calling themselves watchdogs. That there were gamer channels that were calling themselves watchdogs. I made mention that I wanted to consider myself a community watch and that I was going to separate myself from the watchdog group. Kick, or Keeping It Criminal, got very upset. As you can see from these emails, we had an exchange. I want to read the emails to you because I want there to be no misunderstanding as to where this has gone. Hello, Kick. I would appreciate it if in the future you would come to me if you have questions about anything I say or do, as that is the best way to avoid misunderstandings. My choice to make the statement tonight has absolutely nothing to do with you or your channel. I was referring to those that have decided to call themselves watchdogs that are absolutely nothing more than drama channels. There is a fundamental difference in what I do on my channel and what many others are doing, and I do not wish to be a part of that type of childish behavior. I am always open to speak to anyone with 100% honesty should you choose to ask me to do so. Let's try not to be less than honorable about what is clearly a misunderstanding. Me removing myself from the community that is called Watchdog should not affect you negatively in any way. I am having a hard time understanding why you are reading more into it than there is. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I am here anytime. Regards, V. Here is Keeping It Criminal's response. To keep things simple, from the statement I heard on your live, it was construed by myself and other people in the chat that it appeared to be gatekeeping or segregation of channels by a class or type. After the statement was made, I requested clarification and expressed my distaste for the perceived issue of who defines who as what type of channel. As it was during the live, I asked a relevant question for clarification. Based on the statements made, it felt like almost classification of channels would take place, and by proxy, creating different classes implies a hierarchy of classes, which irks me now. What irks me now is the issue with my addressing this perception of your statement in chat, while it was relevant, did not seem acceptable for clarification purposes, and therefore I should wait to ask the question. I find that to be incongruent with an immediate understanding. My response. This had nothing to do with you or your channel. It had to do with me and my channel only. I will not be a part of this ridiculous drama, as this is why I'm separating myself from the Watchdog group. Perhaps the fact that this has nothing to do with you is where you're misunderstanding me. I think it is rather tasteless of you to make accusations towards someone who has never exhibited any of these actions in the last 5 years. Please feel free to go on as usual, and I will do the same. I answered your questions honestly. If you recall, I stated that you were asking the wrong person because I would not be the one that would ever want to breach individualism or make a clique of some sort. His response. Fine. I wasn't making it about me, again asking for clarification and not wanting to name others, so I used my channel as the first example in a series of questions. No accusations were made either. There's a big difference between my questions looking for a rephrasing that could provide clarity and making Devon-level hate exclamations, which I don't and won't do. I don't appreciate the jab about being tasteless, yet I am not taking jabs at you. I'm not attacking. I'm not fighting. I'm asking questions to better understand. I didn't feel the answer was sufficient based on the initial wording and saw myself out. How can this raise your ear to this level over a request for clarity? So are you clear now? Just in case, let me assure you that my comments had nothing to do with playing a role of classifications of channels in the Watchdog group. I am stepping away because my channel no longer fits with the group. My contact is wildly different. Not better, not worse, just different. If you question who I was referring to as drama channels, like Masshole, for example, that will bully others for fun that are now calling themselves watchdogs, are who I was referring to. The current watchdog group does not resemble anything close to what my channel does. Please let me know if you still have questions. I want to make sure you are perfectly clear. Regards, V. Unfortunately, this particular email right here was forwarded on to Kate from Masshole. Although this was a private conversation, it was apparently important to keeping it criminal to keep the drama going. And very recently, I found out that Kate is now investigating me for whatever she can find, apparently, because I called her a drama channel. Now, here's the thing. I wasn't saying there was anything wrong with the drama channels. Drama channels show people getting bullied all the time. It is a matter of a difference in content. But I also wanted to leave the Watchdog group because, as I have said several times, there appears to be a lack of integrity. And the fact that this very situation is going on is proof. And there's a lot more proof of lack of integrity getting ready to come up here. But before I exit this part, let me just say, Kick was fully aware from this conversation that I was not referring to his channel, or Marvel's channel, or any of the watchdogs that were there prior to the fire. This particular email exchange made that perfectly clear. So the post that I put up 2 days ago, and then was followed up by Kick and Marvel with the attacks that they have made, makes virtually no sense. I had already addressed this with him on the 10th of September and on the 11th of September, as you can see. We're over on my community tab. 6 days ago, I updated everyone, letting everyone know that my spouse would be having heart surgery this week. The surgery was performed on Wednesday. This, unfortunately, happened on a day that I received a threat by someone with the screen name Ali. That person knew particular details about me that were very personal and were only known by other watchdogs of the channels, and I'm talking channel creators only, that were close to me. So either this person was a watchdog or was informed by a watchdog. I put up this post to let them know, since they were using a sock puppet account of Ali and making a veiled threat to dox me, since they were giving out personal information in that actual post. Thank you for the information pertaining to me being bullied online over personal details that I trusted the Watchdog group with in the past before leaving the group. The integrity of the group was my purpose for leaving in the first place, as I never have, nor I never will, release personal details that can identify me to those that I expose. Anyone in the Watchdog group who releases my personal information will be legally responsible for doing so, as you are fully aware that it will place my life in danger. Think before you act, as I have already warned law enforcement of the potential doxing, and I went on to give the information that law enforcement gave to me. I set this on my community tab to be read by everyone because I wasn't certain who had done the threat. I've received 2 more since then in different screen names with virtually the same personal information. But I've received a lot of screenshots, which I will be providing to you here in this video. If you recall, just a few moments ago, I went over the conversation that Keeping It Criminal and myself had on September 10th after my stream when I announced that I didn't want to be a part of the Watchdog group anymore, but instead was going to call myself a community watch channel. Unfortunately, at that time, I apparently did not make myself clear and ended up having that email exchange with Keeping It Criminal to make sure that he understood what I meant. He was fully aware on the 10th of September when I drafted those emails to him that I was not referring to his specific channel. Nor was I referring to any of the Watchdog channels that had been Watchdogs for a long time. I was referring to drama channels and channels that I find to be bullying others. And there are a lot of them. There are ex-frauditors right now that are calling themselves Watchdogs. Unfortunately, they felt it necessary to put up a post basically accusing me of being racist and prejudiced and ungrateful. I will allow you to read this if you would like by pausing the video because I don't want to waste too much time here. But then shortly after this post was put up, there was a video that was made live with Keeping It Criminal and Marvel. It was this unfortunate video that began the exposing of personal information by Keeping It Criminal, who had been told in confidence by Schrodinger's cat that he was aware that the boxes that were in the house that were destroyed were inventory because those 30 boxes had been purchased with a small business investment that Schrodinger's cat had made back in April. A $2,000 small business loan that he provided to me that is not in default. However, Keeping It Criminal made it perfectly clear in this video that not only was I a liar and a manipulator of some sort, and I was being completely ungrateful to the community and Marvel herself, not bothering to find out exactly what it was that I was so upset about, that I was also in default and refusing to pay the loan back? Now, here's the interesting part of all of this. He claims that he is full of integrity, against doxing, and is not into drama. But yet, he felt it important to make this video about my post when he already was aware that I wasn't talking about his channel, or Marvel's channel, or any of the other Watchdog channels that were Watchdogs prior to me leaving. Prior to the fire, rather. He claims that he has full of integrity and would never or doesn't agree in doxing people, but yet put out personal information about a private loan that Schrodinger trusted him to not say anything about. And worse, he lied. He claims to be full of integrity, but then said that the loan was in default, when in truth, the loan isn't even due until November and that's just the first payment. For those of you that question that, you're welcome to ask Schrodinger's cat. Have I heard a public apology for this that has been stated? No, I haven't. And in this video, Marvel Girl even says, no, the fire was real. I saw the fire report. It was terrible. It was horrible. And she needed the help. But the people in the chat of this video so desire a witch hunt that's been orchestrated against me that there are people that don't care. They don't care that she vouched for me. Before I get into those screenshots, I would like to say this. Kick, full well knowing I wasn't talking about his channel or the whole integrity of the entire Watchdog group, decided that there wasn't enough drama going on and transferred the information that I shared with him about Masshole Report being an example of a channel that has too much drama in it, in my opinion. He shared that with Kate. Kate, who I've offered in the past to help when someone attempted to dox her, attempted to hurt her. Kate, who I've never had any kind of an issue with in the past whatsoever, who is apparently, according to what I'm being told and have read, so angry with me that she's opening up an investigation to try to prove that I'm a fraud, that I'm scamming people, that the fire wasn't real or that something's wrong and I have used too much in GoFundMes over the last 6 years, or what have you. Apparently, I'm not allowed to an opinion. You know, I was just trying to step away, guys. I wasn't trying to start crap. I was trying to step away. But yes, since I was one of the first 3 in the Watchdog group that started the Watchdog group, I didn't want to be associated with it any longer. I have additional information with regards to what Kate is supposedly doing. Someone had informed me that this was not the real Kate, so it was asked if this was the real Kate by someone I knew who was close to her. They came back to me and said, no, this is a troll account. But since then, I found out different. As you can see, Masshole Report stated on the video that I did with Degeneration Nation, attempting to try to defend myself from these things, says, guess who? What do I have? Like 60% of the truth and growing by the moment. Let's do this if you really want, Virgo. I don't really appreciate some of the dishonesty I've discovered here, but do what you want, I guess. I'm just a drama channel anyway. I find it very interesting that a man who claims to have integrity took an email that was personal between the two of us and shared it with Kate in order to cause drama, and allowed the stream to go on and start slinging crap when he already knew what I was referring to about channels that I did not want to be associated with. Welcome to the witch hunt, ladies and gentlemen. Now we begin. There are tons of screenshots that have been forwarded to me, showing me what people are talking about all the time now in Discord and on other channels. There are people that have several sock accounts that are attacking my comment section. And worse, there are actual individuals that are sending emails to other watchdogs that don't take the side of Marvel Girl and Keeping It Criminal, and trying to lie about things in order to get them to turn. It is truly a witch hunt. Degeneration Nation actually received emails last night stating that if he didn't turn away from being on my side, whatever that means, that they would bring him down with me. Here are some screenshots for you. I have been begging to see those screenshots since June. Again, I couldn't even speak in June. I couldn't walk in June, and there was a nurse coming out every single day to replace the tubes in my Trilogy machine. I couldn't deal with it then. I'm sorry. I have been trying to get them to talk to me. Then she called me 2 weeks ago. It was actually 3. I had cried my tears, felt my hurt, and didn't want to be used again. How do you use somebody when you didn't even ask for them to do anything? They don't have any, otherwise they would have. She claims the screenshots contain personal information. That's a lie. I never said that the screenshots contained personal information with regards to Marvel. The screenshot that pertains personal information is from Ollie, the one that was attempting to threaten to dox me, and that's the reason I put the post up in the first place. Laugh out loud. You all create content. She doesn't know how to black out parts of an image. I can do that. She's just bitter and was looking for a target. All right, we'll go on to the next screenshot. I don't know that these are actually in order. I apologize. Ugh, they won't stop rambling about the shit the stream isn't even about. This is with regards to DGen's stream. The catchphrase on Virgo's page is facts matter, which, by the way, Keeping It Criminal is attempting very hard to try to make that a laughing stock. Interesting, isn't it? If there was just confusion... No, like I said, this is a witch hunt. Virgo has joined his panel. Good, Keeping It Criminal says. The match is lit. Let them stoke the fire and burn from their own actions. The real people behind their actions will be revealed now. It's awfully angry, don't you think? When it didn't even actually involve him, and when it did involve him, or he thought it involved him, I explained that it wasn't his channel that I was referring to. Doesn't matter to Keeping It Criminal. He's extremely angry. Or hopefully she can clarify the shit her post started. She won't. If you question her, you're questioning the Queen. Demand proof. Here is your proof of everything you guys have been talking about. I'm sure it still won't suffice. Not to mention that the GoFundMe was running during the pandemic, where at a time most people were struggling with money. You're a great person and friend, Marvel. I'm sad that this has happened. Then Our Lady of the Sacred Bong Water that you see right here, which by the way is Kate from Masshole Report. And by the way, I want to say this. I didn't believe that Kate would actually stoop this low. I assumed, since we had agreed to help one another before, that she would just come to me and say, hey, why did you say that? And I would explain to her the reasons behind why I said what I said. But no, we're stooping much lower than that. Because she's a shabby fucking grifter. That's why. I'm going to have to agree with you on this one, says whoever this is. Marvel says, thank you, Mark. It's true. I was feeling guilty that I put one person's needs ahead of everyone's. Isn't that interesting? See, you guys don't seem to understand. The GoFundMe was set up by Kim and Sean, not me. I was in a hospital in ICU. Little hard to grift when you can't speak. It's really amazing that so much was raised. It shows the community cares, even if they don't know the person. Here's what's interesting about that. Most of you have known me for the full 6 years that I have been exposing con artists. Many of the creators know who I am and quite a bit about my life, which seems to be the problem here. A simple misunderstanding, as it's called, has brought about a literal witch hunt, and they won't be happy until I'm dead. I'm about to show you how serious this is getting. Tonight, Degeneration Nation, or rather last night, Degeneration Nation received this from Robert Legear. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I apologize if I didn't. The third. Bro, I'm Marble Girl's boyfriend. I was most certainly there. She's never had a bad thing to say about either of you, and she had no idea that Keeping It Criminal was going off on that tangent in the stream. Go back and listen to it, and I think it'll be obvious to you. I'm making a bullet point by point response to everything she said in your stream yesterday. I will do you the courtesy of sending it to you before it's uploaded so you can see. I don't blame you for this, but I do think it's pretty shitty you couldn't ask Marvel for her side on things. Marvel not answering Virgo's call 2 weeks ago was intentional after months of Virgo ignoring her. I'm sorry, I received one text message when I was still extremely sick, and as soon as I had everything together, I did call her. I also spoke to Schrodinger about it. Let me just say this. Initially, Schrodinger wanted for me to do a roundtable, basically. The only problem is there would have been 3 people on her side and just me. So I said no, I would want Sean and Kim with me then, and I never heard back. So since I didn't hear back, I decided I'm going to go ahead and call. We should be able to work this out as adults. I'm civil. Hopefully, this will work itself out, and I can ask her why she put these things up. That's when she didn't return my call. Months of Virgo ignoring her because Sean Z misinformed either intentionally or I don't know. I will be happy to voice call and explain this. Part to you, 'cause Virgo straight up abused and used Marvel, Kimbles, and Sean while she was down and out. Dude, this is a very long story, but I really don't want to see you get taken in on her bullshit. If you are interested in what I have to say, let's talk on voice chat tomorrow. I guarantee you I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass. I tell you exactly what happened, and you can make your own mind up. I saw the message you sent to MG today, and speaking to Virgo without moderation is out of the question at this point. She's just too full of shit and manipulative. I truly don't want to see her drag you down with her. I hope you'll consider the possibility that you've been lied to. Let me make sure that I got all of this. Yes, here we go. I'll show you Virgo's history as a scam artist and liar. Last chance. You're being willfully naive, and you had your chance to see unbiased information here. Please do not message Marvel again. You'll go down with her. Do me a favor. Ask Virgo about her scam eBay stores and why she is banned from PayPal. See ya. Degeneration Nation replied with, I only messaged her today to apologize and see if I could get them talking. And Robert says, yes, you are meddling in something you have none of the facts on, dude. And Degen said, I have 100% facts. Move along. There's more to it, but it's all pretty much the same. Actually, you know what? I am going to read it. Here we go. Degen said, I have 100% facts. Move along. Robert said, God damn, you are some kind of hard-headed. You deserve what you get. You don't even know Virgo Triad. None of you do. I've known her for 3 years, Degeneration Nation says. Robert says, Miss, I'm in witness protection is just a lying felon hiding her identity so no one knows her criminal background. But Daddy has sources. What's her name, mister? I've known her for 3 years. You've known a long-practiced scammer. All right, Robert, if this really is Robert, although I kind of question whether this is truly Robert or not, but it sounds like it might be something that your group would do. Number 1, I never have claimed to be in the witness protection program. I have no idea where you're getting that information. Number 2, I am not a felon in any way, shape, or form. Number 3, I haven't had an eBay store since 2005, and when I had that, there was not an issue with that store. In addition to that, he sent something about Vera Wang clothing. I didn't sell clothing. He claims that I don't have a PayPal account. I'm blocked from PayPal? Really, Robert? Well, here is my PayPal account, and here's something really funny. Look it. Who's this? Tina. That's Marvel Girl. And do you know why she's on there, Robert? Because I've sent her money through PayPal before. Hence, I'm not banned from PayPal. I just don't even know what to say about this. It speaks for itself. And this person is not trying to be ugly. It's just a fact. However, the loan is not in default, and I would love to know why keeping it criminal felt like it was okay to put that information out there. Just in case you guys would like to see some of the overly disgusting comments that are going on. No, we know it's not true. Anyway, curiosity got to me. Huge character flaw. Degen says, we need indisputable evidence because I know Virgo well. He says, okay, she used me with the doxing issue and has hung me out to dry. This is disheartening because I also vouched for you when people asked what your deal was. He says, she's crafty. Anyway, don't anything. Dude, she has straight up hung me out to dry. It's okay. Degen says, no, she didn't. He says, yes, she did. Degen says, prove it, because people have assumed what she said about doxing. Degen said, yeah, about doxing. It's cool, man. Nothing's gonna happen. It's all good. I wish the best, man. I sincerely mean that. One last thing. Tell the fruit to quit harassing MG, Marvel Girl, every time I hurt its feelings. She shouldn't have to deal with a 50-year-old guy's feelings getting bruised. RPG Ghost says, you refusing to present evidence is a little sus, my guy. And he says, you caught me. You foiled my whole plan. When it goes down, I just want 2 words. I'm sorry. That's all. Deal? I'm pretty positive Mike will probably leave at the same time. We will see. He says, deal. And that was RPG Ghost. Sorry. He says, deal. And then he says, and Mike, no one can verify that fire report, nor can one be found. When this fire supposedly happened, I mean, yeah, I found Virgo's felonies, but no fire report. None when this mystery fire happened. Could really put nails in my coffin with that fire report. My final words on this are the same as when I started. This has to be the most upsetting, sad post I have ever had to make. The sad part is that I would have forgiven Marvel Girl. It's hard for me to believe that she didn't understand that I really could barely even speak. I was on constant oxygen. I was on a constant oxygen mask. I was weak. I had smoke inhalation. I spoke to Schrodinger in the hospital for about 5 minutes and coughed and felt terrible for an hour and a half afterwards and had to be put on really high oxygen levels. They had to take blood gases in order to determine how much CO2 I had in my blood day after day. I'm not telling you this for you to pity me or to feel sorry for me. I'm telling you this because it's what happened. They started their witch hunt on the day that my spouse went into heart surgery. They claim that they don't know that that was what was happening at the time. But yet Kik claimed that he didn't know who I was talking about from my post a couple of days ago in the community. And yet I proved he did, because I outlined it for him on the 10th of September, when I said it the first time. They knew. There's no way that they didn't know. They're subscribed to me. I made 3 posts about my spouse being in the hospital. It's clear that it's a witch hunt. And it's not going to matter, one way or the other, whether something's factual or not. Their only drive at this point is to be right. So if they have to falsify things, if they have to negate information like Keeping It Criminal did, if they have to pretend like they don't know something in order to smear me, they will do it. And if what I have shown you doesn't prove that to you, then nothing will. Van and I discussed this and decided that this was the only way to handle this, and I fully anticipate that Marvel or Keeping It Criminal or possibly one of the other watchdogs that now has my personal information because they so carelessly threw it around will expose what my actual name is, and it will be a short time from then that I will have to start being concerned about dangers. At that point, I'm not sure exactly what I will do other than file charges, because there's just simply nothing else I can do. I do want to make it perfectly clear that everyone who supported me through the fire, I am so grateful to. And if you truly don't know how much or how grateful I am, please go back to my birthday stream and listen to it, because I cried through most of it. If you guys really, truly feel that you don't know me after this length of time of me doing what I've been doing, and you think that I've only been doing this because of my GoFundMes, then there's nothing else to say. And I'm definitely not helping anyone if that's the case. Their plan is to go after my GoFundMes because there really is nothing else. Their plan is to say that the 6 years that I've been doing this, there's all these GoFundMes, and so obviously I must have been scamming. Well, let's see, during that 6-year period, I was recovering from cancer. I lost a family member. I had to go back and have treatments. I did quite a few GoFundMes for other people, like Penny, who lost 4 members of her family. I had a house fire where I lost everything. And the next thing they'll be saying is that my website doesn't, Who cares if your friend gave $7,000 to that original GoFundMe for the website to go up? Your website isn't valued at that. Well, the database that is currently not there, and I made a post about it, by the way, 2 weeks ago, because it's being revamped and will be going back up at the beginning of the year, cost a lot. It was there to help people. The website was there to help people, to warn people from scams. The website is still up, but the search engine, the database part of it, is being revamped. And I made a post about it a couple of weeks ago, so there's proof for you that I'm not making an excuse. Because that's what they're going to say. They're going to say a lot of things. Because that's what they apparently are doing now. The ending of this will be that I think that the so-called watchdog group should be renamed for those that are less than watchdogs. For those that are doing these kind of things, perhaps we should rename them the Bulldog Group. Because that's exactly what they're doing. Bullying. Welcome to the witch hunt.